I mean, one of the best characters on television. There he is, Cristo Fernandez, a.k.a. Dani Rojas. Welcome to the program, my friend.
Hello. Hello, Ben and Woods, and all the fans out there listening. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
It's such a pleasure to have you. We were just talking about the show and what it meant to all of us. And I said, when we first met Dani Rojas, I said it wasn't even a breath of fresh air because the show was not stale at all. It didn't need a breath of fresh air, but that's kind of how it felt when you ran onto the field the first time. For you as an actor to come into a season like that, describe that experience for you to join that show.
Well, I mean, it was, the fact it was my first day on the show as well. So it was my first working day. So I had all the nerves and all the excitement with me. So I think that helped Dani to spread all the energy out there and run like crazy.
Yeah, it didn't look like you were acting. It looked like that was genuine emotion running onto the field for the first time.
Well, I mean, the first line Dani has is "Thank you very much for the opportunity," but I can tell you that was me.
So I was just telling our audience too, reading a little bit about your life. You're one of the rare people in life that has gotten to pursue at the highest levels, really, your great loves. You grew up playing football and you had a pretty bad injury. Was it the injury to your knee?
Yeah, so I mean, I played professional soccer football since I was 15 years old. Played my whole life as a child, and then I broke the knee. It was more like the meniscus and a little bit of the big bone we have in the knee. I don't know how you call it in English, but I mean, I recovered from it, but it just turned out that I was on my way to the first team. Things were going right, and it just stopped me in a very specific moment in my career. And it was a combination, both the injury, but also me discovering new passion and new things, and having played my whole life and suddenly finding something new that I was really passionate was something that took me by surprise, and I appreciate it, and I'm grateful with my family and my parents that pushed me to study something.
Yeah, because
it was with communication with my studies, and that I found audiovisual classes and writing, and no one wanted to act in the videos, and I was the one acting, and I was like, this is cool. And then everyone was like, yeah, you can do it, you're good. And then I was okay. And then they told me, hey, can you help me with my other videos from classes above and below? And I was, yeah, of course. And then I became famous in my university for being the one that acted for free in the videos. And I was just doing lots of videos, and then I joined the theater company in the school. And then outside of school, I started to do like little student films, but professional ones, commercials, short films. And that's how I got into it. And then I saved money, went to study my master in acting in the UK. And years later, here we are.
It's so incredible. Funny. It's so funny too, because obviously an injury like that can mess with your mental health. That can mess obviously with your physical health, and not, getting to play professional football, but not continuing to do that for a living. But then so rare for somebody to find another passion that they're so interested in. You talk about your parents pushing you. I'm the father of two young boys, and they were really, apparently you did not like school very much. You just, when you say football is life, that's all you wanted to do was play football. How did they break through finally and say, all right, Cristo, you got to focus on something else at this point?
No, I mean, it wasn't like they forced me or pushed me. You can imagine my parents' face when I said, all right, guys, I'm not going to be a soccer football player anymore. And they were like, oh, thank God. But I'm going to be an actor. Oh my
no.
What the hell is wrong with this man? But it's just, my parents have always seen how dedicated I've been. Like I did high school at nights because I was playing soccer training twice per day, and they've always seen me as someone that is dedicated to what I want to do, and I think that's the reason why they were like, yeah, whatever you want to do, because my parents are not in arts or sports or anything. But regardless, they've always seen, I think, in me that I just don't sit around and wait. I really push for things to happen, and I mean, yeah, in terms of somehow, I think my life felt a little bit like, that storyline that Roy Kent has.
Yeah.
He thinks football, soccer is his whole life,
His
and
whole
then you
identity.
realize. So I can tell you that personally, I went through existential crisis when I was like realizing things were not going the way I wanted. But and that's probably a topic to talk about, because there are many. We always hear the story of the ones that made it, but at least in America, for example, I think you guys are doing it the right way, where you combine education with sports. But in the rest of Latin America and in the world, and even in the UK, like there's not a combination between both, and I think it's very hard because not everyone will achieve the dream of being an athlete. And also, for me, I learned from my mistakes, and I realized that there were opportunities and things that I didn't push because I was comfortable in my zone. I didn't want to get out of my comfort zone. So that's why when I had this dream of being an actor, and I could have stayed or go to Mexico City or to America, which was closer. But everyone asked me, why do you go to the UK? Because to me, it was like, I need to get out of here and go where I admire the culture, the arts, and the weather is crazy and horrible, and the English is hard to understand, and I have no one, I don't know anybody, and that was for me. I had no other option but to give my best, or to give my best, and I think somehow that pay off on the long run.
Yeah,
But
I'd say
also,
so.
I reflect, and I've been always a crazy one that I always spoke to myself and have, when you walk in LA and you see sometimes people talking to themselves
Yeah.
and like crazy people, I always go like, that's an actor practicing a monologue.
Yeah, they could act. We're talking to Cristo Fernandez, plays Dani Rojas on Ted Lasso, and I know we don't have an inordinate amount of time here, but I did want to ask you. I mean, the show connects with so many people. It connected with us. It came out during the pandemic, and it was, for me, I always describe it as a nice warm blanket. Where does that come from? Because I'm a big Jason Sudeikis fan, and I got to imagine you are as well. Does he really set the tone for Ted Lasso, and what is he like? Just to be around on a daily basis. No one can be as positive as the actual Ted Lasso. How close does he get?
I think the reason why the show works, not only because it's incredibly well written and it's all on them. It's the writers are geniuses. They make the work easier. They know what works best, and they are amazing. But in terms of, I also think something they did right is that each one of the characters is very close to who we are as persons and as people. And I think you see of each actor lots of who that character is. And I mean, Jason is a Jason is a great leader. I would say Jason is. He's not only the main guy, the main actor, but he's also the showrunner. He's also the main creator. He's the one that brings the energy. He knows what can work. He has all the experience from SNL, and together with Brendan, Joe, and Bill and the writers, they make an amazing job. And I say that because he's always thinking of the details, and he's thinking about my character on set. He's thinking about his character. He's thinking about why that sofa is there and in the other scene was not there. And he's always just thinking about so many things. And I've learned so much. And I think the collaborative process of collaboration, I think I appreciate the most, because from what I've learned working with him is that there are not bad ideas. There are always ideas that work in that moment, or sometimes they don't work, but there's always space to try them. And there's been some lines, even like in this season, like where Dani tells Trent, well, I mean, it's already the episode out, but when Dani says the word "fuck off," And that was improv. In the script it said boo, so I was supposed to tell Trent boo, but I was like, Danny has been with around Roy Kent so much, he can say fuck off.
All right, I get it.
And I was like, okay, I learned it. Sorry if I cannot say the word.
That's okay. No, I mean it's
all good.
It's
now.
all good now. We took
the F word.
We took care of it. We took care of it, Chris.
But no, my point is that I think that's been my biggest lesson. It's a collaboration process, and you cannot always think that it's just you. It's a teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, and I think he truly embraces that. And yeah, I've learned so much from Jason and from everyone on set.
Yeah, it's a really, really good show, man. I know you got to go. I could have talked to you all day. I really, really appreciate the time. Cristo Fernandez, aka Dani Rojas. Could you give us the catchphrase, please?
Of course, amigo. Football is life.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much, my friend.
Cristo.
I really, really appreciate that, man. That was Cristo Fernandez.